Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new video on the top 5 things every single Soraka player needs to know. My name is LowFit. I do educational content like these tip videos, guide videos, and opposition reports where I go over how to beat certain types of champions. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. She is a really interesting support. She has a very unique kit that is not really matched by anyone out of the support role. I recommend her for people that are just looking to learn the support role, as she is relatively easy to execute. But she does have some small intricacies that I see a lot of people flubbing, and I wanted to get this video out to help the people that play Soraka. Even though I absolutely hate seeing her on the enemy team, I love seeing her on my team, so I wanted to help those people out. I want to talk about, in my opinion, her best ability is a AoE silence, a mechanic that's kind of being phased out in League of Legends right now, with just a few champions remaining with silences left in their kit. I just want to talk about a couple different uses for this. One of the biggest mistakes people do is throw it out for like damage on a ADC, which is just so terrible in what you're looking to do in team fights. This is so effective in stopping combo assassins like Fizz right after he jumps in and he say he Qs in. If you put an E on top of him, he's not going to be able to E out, so he's very susceptible to damage, and he's not going to be able to Zhonya's after doing his burst, so assassins are very susceptible to this E silence field because they are ability based. So look to use this in the best possible ways on the highest impact champions, whether this be the most fed champion that has combo based abilities. It's not going to be too effective against things like Tryndamere that just are auto attack based, or things like Jinx that are mostly auto attack based. So make sure you're choosing the right target for the spell. Also, another great way to look to use it is when you are just trying to have a zone control where it's going to root a couple of people. So again, the two best uses are zone control in a team fight to just root a couple people and to stop them from doing abilities, and then also from limiting people like Zed, which would be great. It's a great target to silence right after he uses his R. He's not going to be able to put in his combo of QWE or however he throws it, and it's going to severely limit his damage output. Now this is a proactive way to help your allied champions to stay alive, where a reactive way would be something like the Astral Infusion, where you're just healing up damage that's already been lost. So look to prevent as much damage as possible with Equinox. It also has an amazing range and also does a surprising amount of damage. It does have a little bit longer of a cooldown compared to your other basic abilities, but this is for a reason, because it is such a high impact spell. So please make sure that you are using your Equinox correctly. I know it just kind of seems like a lackluster ability because you don't really see like a big, like, huge shift in how much damage it does. You don't see it's not a really flashy animation, but truly just believe me that E is one of your most impactful spells in your kit. Now I want to talk about your itemization on Soraka, because it is so flexible. It's a great part of her as a champion, is her ability to augment your team fights in different ways. Say you have a very heavy enemy team comp that's going to be throwing out a lot of AoE damage, which is perfect. Soraka has a great AoE heal with her ult. You also want to be looking into ability or items like Locket of the Solari that's going to prevent AoE damage, and then also things like Redemption that's going to further reduce AoE damage. So really look at what is going on in the team comps of when you want to build certain items. If you have a lot of ADCs, say you have a Jinx out of the ADC slot, you have a Kindred or Graves out of the jungle, and you have a Quinn in the top lane. Ardent Sensor is going to be an amazing pick because you can mass apply it with your ult, and then you can also apply it with your W as well. So this is going to be a great pickup in those kind of team comps. And then say you have a Trundle out of the jungle, you have a Malphite out of the top lane, and you just kind of have a run at the enemy team comp where you're just trying to just bulldoze them over with tanks. Shirelia's is going to be a great item for you to pick up, because it's going to give you a lot of movement speed and enable that type of playstyle. And if they have a lot of single target damage and you want to just have as much burst prevention as possible, Athenes can be a great pick as well because you're going to be able to just do a massive heal with your W after doing a bit of damage. There are a couple different items that are also pretty good if they're pick heavy. Mikhail's Crucible, and if they're just constantly focusing your ADC, Knight's Vow is going to be another decent pickup for you. So look to apply the different items in a way as you would use different chess pieces to approach different game states and board states. So never ever have a cookie cutter build that you're just building every single time. Just make sure you do at least have one of the items with the unique passive of heal and shield power, because that is going to be pretty important. But outside of that, you can do pretty much whatever you want. You can even go, if you just want to augment your ADC further, you can go with things like Zeke's Herald. I'm really sure that this is a super underused item. It might not be the best on Soraka because she isn't going to be applying the slow to too many people, but if there are a lot of people diving on you, Zeke's can be a great pick. And then also there are a couple win more items that I want to talk about. At least one that I'm seeing a lot more prevalence now in the pro play that a lot more people are starting to pick up. If your team is really far ahead and the only problem you have is just getting into team fights, your team is so far ahead and you're just snowballing on them, things like Twin Shadows and combinations with Shurelya's can really enable your pick potential, and also they give you a little bit of movement speed and ability power, which isn't going to hurt Soraka's kit. So again, you should be analyzing every single game and get the best items for the game. That is going to be one of the more difficult parts of Soraka, as her kit is relatively straightforward and easy to execute. So that will wrap up number 2. Alright, and let's just jump right into number 3. Now this isn't going to be something you're going to hear pretty much any day when you're just looking into Soraka guides, but I've played an extreme amount of support games in my day, and I want to talk about her auto attack, her range, and her ability to harass. Soraka that is at a decent power level in the early levels in laning phase with her great auto attack range where she's able to harass from afar, and then when people look into locking an animation to return with an auto attack, you can just throw your Q down and run away, and you're going to regen their auto attack back, and you're going to leave them with more damage. So look to use that type of trading pattern where you're just taking very good trades, you're auto harassing when it's safe against every single last hit the ADC is making. So look to punish every single window that you can in the laning phase, because this is actually when one of the points you're at the strongest levels in the sense of your dueling potential in a 1v1. Soraka does have really good base damages and can really heal up quite a bit with her Q passive from the regeneration in the early levels, and the movement speed as well. It's just a great she just has a really nice laning phase. Obviously you don't want to be taking Comet, this is just a weird rune setup I'm using for a different champion, but really look to use your Q as much as possible in the laning phase, and you're going to be able to give a little bit more rejuvenation as well when you W over to your ally. So look to take advantage of your sustain again by just harassing as much as possible from autos when they're looking to CS or when they're looking to get on your ADC. You can Q and then E silence on any kind of combo support, like something like a Leona or an Alistar. Sometimes you can fuck up their combo with a well-timed E, and then also the Q damage return when they are locking in an animation to attack you, or they're looking to throw a spell at you. They're going to be running in a relatively you can pretty much guess where they're going to go, because it's going to be pretty aggressive probably towards you, because they are tired of just getting bananas thrown at them all the time. So look to take advantage of Soraka's powerful laning phase, and her auto harass with Aerie is also really great. So yeah, that will wrap up number 3. Alright, and jumping into tip 4. This is going to just be a little bit more about the team fights that Soraka is going to encounter. The more and more you play, the more you're going to understand that Soraka is going to get focused by these smarter teams that are just looking to stop all the annoying sustain that you have. So I want to talk about a couple of ways that you should look to be defensive. First, an easiest way to just avoid getting picked and dying early in team fights is just your positioning and knowing the enemy champion's spheres of influence and where they can get to with their gap closers and with their abilities. So just having a good understanding of that, and then you should never be in the front line when you are a Soraka player, obviously, so keep that in mind as well. But outside of those two kind of general tips, you want to be looking at two parts of your kit that are really going to help you just live a bit longer in team fights. First up, and most obviously, is your Q, giving you a slow on the enemy that is trying to chase you down. And this is going to be a great way to just kind of self-peel. And then also, just keep in mind that with the Q, it comes down a lot quicker when it is really close to you, so you can wait till they are getting a little bit closer to get on top of you to throw out your Q to guarantee that slow, because you know that they are coming at you, so you can just throw it down right on top of yourself and get away. But the biggest thing that I see very underutilized by most Soraka players is her passive. Now, it is kind of tricky because you do get 70% bonus movement speed when moving towards allied champions who are below 40% health. So this means that you really don't want to be on top of your allied champions. Obviously, you want to be on within W range of people that are going to be focused in the team fights, but you should be looking at them like Heimerdinger would at his turrets, that she gets a passive movement speed towards those objectives or those people or those turrets, so you can use them as a bit of a speed boost when you are looking to kite away from an enemy. Say an enemy comes right here where this E is, and she coming and chasing me. If there is a low health target over here, you should look to kite this way and get away with your high movement speed from your passive. So again, your Q slow, and then your passive movement speed should really help get you out of a lot of sticky situations when you are on Soraka, because there are going to be quite a few games where you get focused because people get tired of you just saving everyone with a little bit of low health, and then you're just ulting in with a bunch, and then you're using your lockets and your salvations, and it's going to be sometimes you come off as a very annoying champion to a lot of people, so you are expected to get focused by quite a few people. So definitely with the self peel of the slow and looking to use the passive movement speed. If you guys have any other tips you would like to share on just trying to live as Soraka, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Alright, and jumping into the last tip, I want to talk about something that's very particular to Soraka, that is really what she excels at so much, particularly in laning phase, and it is her ability to bait enemies into poor positions, whether this be not healing your ADC to full and kind of leaving them at a lower percentage health and trying to see if they will just try and jump on him and you'll be able to sustain him out because you know you're going to win the 2v2. Or sometimes it is a good idea when you are a little bit lower health, say you've thrown some heals down on your ally and you don't have much health left, and to try and bait them into attacking you, because a lot of supports are going to go very aggressive on a Soraka as well as other ADCs, and if you're able to draw a lot of consistent attention on yourself, it's going to allow your ADC right here to get off a lot of free damage. So a great way to self-peel is obviously to just Q and get the slow and the silence when they're looking to use their abilities to combo on you, to provide even more time for your ADC. So the more kind of distraction you can provide for your ADC, or the more you're able to bait the enemies into prolonged fights where you're going to really take advantage of your sustain, the better off you're going to be. This is a very fine line though, because you can get bursted out as Soraka, particularly before level 6, when you just have access to the rejuvenation on your Q and the heal from your ADC. So just kind of play around with it a bit, get used to just try and learn the different damage thresholds from the different lane combinations. Like a Braum Lucian particularly is going to be a really kill heavy lane that you might struggle with a little bit, but you can get very used to taking advantage of their low ranges. So just look to bait them as much as possible into those long sustained team fights where Soraka can really shine. Now that's going to wrap up my video. If you enjoyed the content, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm also going to put my Discord in the description if you want to contact me and have a live chat. I'm always up for that kind of stuff. And if you want an OPGG review, I do those as well if you guys want one of those. And yeah, that will wrap up my video. And as always, guys, take it easy.